It's the 5th day from my home, but the first day on Alfred Canning's route. We are travelling the route in the opposite direction to which he first surveyed it, so we'll be travelling north to south. We've stopped for the night, camped amongst the Spinifex grass. Our campsite is very close to a place called Old Halls Creek, where his surveying terminated. Tomorrow we will hit the track known as the Canning Stock Route. But first I'd like to make an introduction. This is Mr. Spinifex. My name is Andrew St Pierre White. Join me as I build four-wheel trucks and travel to the remotest parts of the world. I'm a prisoner of this hill. This soft, cuddly, fluffy grass is called Spinifex. And I've been warned, I was warned, be careful of the Spinifex, it gets everywhere. And driving here, these rolling hills with this soft, it's not soft, it's far from soft. In fact, it is incredibly prickly. It gets everywhere. I am sure that I have not experienced the worst of Spinifex, because the only thing that's happened to me up to this point is that I've had parts of my legs spiked. And I think we're going to hear a lot about Spinifex in the days to come. We have actually camped on what might be described as private land. This is a gorge cut in the middle of a very, very open flat landscape, and is part of a cattle ranch, an enormous cattle ranch. These ranches are as big as some countries. They are mostly owned by large corporates, and because of the challenges of cattle farming and the associated weather problems, you'll have 3 or 4 or 5 years of drought. No private organization can handle that kind of hardship. But the big corporates, of course, can, because they have the finances to actually move the cattle in huge numbers around the country. And they still do that by droving, the traditional cattle herding, and they also do it by rail. And of course, the Canning Stock Route is one of those very old droving routes that we're going to follow. My co-driver is Overland Guru Paul Marsh. Guru.
So we are going to have chicken. First of all, I'm going to cook it with a sage and lemon and some chicken stock, just to cook it through. Then we're going to sear it on the griddle here. Then I'm going to take the juices from that chicken. We're going to
Justin won't be our chef for the entire trip. More's the pity.
Add some goat's cheese, and then that's going to go into mix through some nice pasta, penne pasta, and then we'll serve that on a bed of wilted spinach. So that's tonight's menu.
Second, it goes a bit darker.
Yeah.
On post-production, I
mix this with
goat's cheese.
just add more water.
We're lucky this time. Timing of the moon is often so important, and it's a good idea to sit with your calendar and see what the moon's doing. We've hit it just perfectly this time, because we've got the moon rise last night. It was at about 8 o'clock, and magnificent. But before then we had the Milky Way galaxy in all its glory. We didn't do that this time. This was pure luck. I mean, I just looked at the calendar and spoke to everybody involved in the trip and said, when can you do the trip? And they said this time, and that was it. We didn't even look at the moon and its movements. And we, I guess, got lucky. Today we're heading back to Halls Creek. We will resupply all of the bits and pieces, fill up absolutely everything. The vehicle then will be at its absolute heaviest, and we will head onto the Canning Stock route, heading south to a town called Wiluna, and we will get there in probably 18-ish days time.
Wiluna, little village here. Please insert card. So now, just under 700 kilometers of rough driving, and because I don't know the fuel consumption of the vehicle, I've got to just guess. I'm going to fill up everything here. Fuel prices are steadily getting higher. It's 140 in town, 270 here, and the village, the one and only fueling stop on the whole route, it's over $3.50 a litre, so it's getting quite pricey. But hopefully she'll be light on fuel. We shall see. Onward! Well, no sooner have we entered the canning stock and the corrugations begin, and they're already nasty. So I'm going to, thinking also about the dunes that lie ahead, I'm going down to 2.5 bar on the back and 1.8 bar on the front. You know, there is nothing quite like it. Friends, my own truck, and a new place to explore. We have arrived just after sunset at our campsite on the edge of Stretch Lagoon. Time for here they come. Just stop for a moment to make sure that they're good behind us. You can see them in the far distance. Lots of corrugations this morning. Time for Coke and Dravos. We've just hit the first few very shallow dunes, so it's time now to put up our warning flag. It's not only just courteous to do so, but it also increases safety, of course, because we fly a nice high flag, so when you come up a blind side of the dune, then people can see you long before you actually crest the dune, so it avoids collisions. And time to put it up. Sometimes I actually have to pinch myself. This is a working day. I'm working. Boy, I love doing this. New truck, new country, new trail, new. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. It doesn't get better than this. And we're on day one of the actual track itself. We have encountered our first traffic, a lone truck travelling in the opposite direction. And our first well. This is well 51. There are 51 wells on the Canning Stock route. This is the first. We will be counting down from now to 0. I assume there's a well called 0. And more traffic. These travellers are going south to north, the way most people do the Canning Stock route. And then a startling reminder about what can happen.
You wonder what caused the fire.
Think you could get that going, Mr. Marsh?
Yeah, a bit of time, eh? And the harsh reality is, this happens. And this is a dying shame. You can just imagine your vehicle. My God. Makes me sad. True, bad electrical wiring or Spinifex underneath.
Many of the original wells dug by Canning and his crew have fallen derelict, but many have been rebuilt, and because of them we can top up our water supplies en route. This is our first chance to do so.
You know what?
Tastes good. Tastes very nice, actually. Well, of course, the Canning Stock route is a heritage trail. It's a reminder of the days of the very, very tough men conquered the wilderness of Outback Australia. And here lies Jack the Rager Smith, cook and stockman, died aged 70 after a fall from his horse on 23rd of May 1939. That's not very long ago. One more, that'll be enough for showers. 3 o'clock. We've done a really good stretch today, about 170 kilometers. So what we're actually going to do is now to actually turn around. We noticed behind us, about 2 kilometers, there's an open area where we can set up camp. I decided that I'd rather not camp near the wells, because that's, most people that do the canning stock will go to the wells because there's fresh water there and they can have a shower and everything. We're carrying enough water, we don't need to do that. And these red hills are going to turn golden in a few hours' time. These are the Breaden Hills. And the best part about not camping near the wells is that near the wells there's no firewood. Found some. Feels like we've been on the trail for weeks. It really does feel remote. One of my big worries about canning stock was that it's a very popular route, and that there would be too many people on it, and in fact that we would have a feeling of being really isolated and remote. I'm very pleased to say that although 15 vehicles passed us today coming in the opposite direction, it certainly does not feel overcrowded at all, and it does feel very remote, and it is very, very remote. People pay a lot of money to see a mountain range like that. Well, it's just part of daily overland travel in Australia. Sun is well below the horizon now. The other three have gone off for a walk. I don't know where they've gone. And just being here alone in the utter silence has made me... I recall my trips through Botswana and Namibia. I did solo trips completely on my own, with myself and my truck. And in fact, I was so alone, I didn't even have a sat phone with me. I wanted that sensation of being utterly cut off. And it was exhilarating. I found the nights quite tough. Sometimes, quite lonely, and I felt very vulnerable, particularly because of the wild animals around. But the daytime's exhilarating. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some solo trips. I think maybe a week-ish, Western Australia, not too far from my home, maybe 2 days to drive there, not more. Canning Stock was 4 days to get to the northern part of Canning Stock. So something obviously less ambitious, but the experience of Canning Stock is already giving me confidence. So I'm thinking about maybe I should do some solo trips, because I remember with enormous fondness the solo trips I did through Botswana 2009, 2010, and solo trips through Namibia in 2010. I must do some more, but I'll do them in this country.